Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and today I have some massive news that doesn't really have anything to do with game development, but it sure has something to do with development in general. Quite frankly, if you've been programming for more than a few, I would say years, but then I would say months, and then I might even say days, there is a good chance that you ran into a problem, you Googled it, and the solution came from Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is sort of the repository site for programming and networking and technical questions and answers. Basically, it has become a giant repository of knowledge, and if you need to know something, there is a pretty darn good chance that the answer is on Stack Overflow. Actually, kind of funnily enough, it actually just said game developer over there as well. And by the way, let's say if you wanted to look up, say, Unity semaphore. I got no idea if those things go together. I do know that I am not a robot. So here we go. Here is how you find out about semaphores in Unity. Quite literally, if you have a niche question, there is a good chance that Stack Overflow had the answer for you. Well, the reason why we were talking about today is they were just acquired. Yes, they were just purchased by a company called Prosus, which I actually find a little shocking. I had never heard of before, and it's weird because they have a massive amount of reach, as we are going to see in a few minutes, and they have acquired Stack Overflow. Now, another thing I've heard is this also just made something like 91 new millionaires. So people that currently held shares in Stack Overflow, well, y'all just got paid. So there's a lot of people out there that are quite happy with this acquisition. Now, the interesting thing is going to be what it is going to do to the rest of the world. So here we go. Prosus bought them. Their massive scale and reach, we'll get back to their acquisitions in the past in a second, but their massive scale and reach improves the lives of around a fifth of the world's population. Our mission is to build leading companies that empower and enrich communities, as demonstrated by many community-focused and ed tech or educational technology companies they work with. This makes Prosus the perfect company to acquire Stack Overflow, and Stack Overflow the ideal investment in their focus on the future of workplace learning and collaboration. It allows us to continue to operate as an independent company with our current team, although they're probably going to lose a few to retirement because they are now freshly minted millionaires, and with the backing of a global technology powerhouse. And it's going to shock you when we look at what they actually own. Once this acquisition is complete, we will have more resources to support to grow our public platform and paid products, and we can accelerate our global impact tremendously. This may look like more rapid and robust international expansion, M&A, which by the way is mergers and acquisitions, also known as buying other companies, opportunities, deeper partnership both on Stack Overflow and within Stack Overflow for Teams. Stack Overflow for Teams actually seems to be the driving indicator in this case. Our intention is for the public platform, that would be the Stack Overflow that you and I know and love, to be an invaluable resource for developers and technologists everywhere, and for our SaaS or software as a service, that is basically software sold on a subscription basis, mostly to corporations. Collaboration and knowledge management platform Stack Overflow for Teams to reach thousands more global enterprises, allowing them to accelerate product innovation and increase productivity by unlocking institutional knowledge. Prosus is a long-term investor and loves what our company and community have built over the last 13 years. They are impressed by the SaaS, or software as a service, transformation the company has been on since the launch of Stack Overflow for Teams, and especially over the last 2 years. Prosus recognizes our platform's tremendous potential for impact, and they are excited to launch and accelerate our next phase of growth. Now, I do have a question for you. This acquisition was for $1.8 billion. And my brain is really struggling with that. First off, because $1.8 billion is like more than, what, a couple thousand of us are going to make in our lifetime combined, maybe even tens of thousands. I don't know. I didn't do the math on it. It's an immeasurably big number. But the other part of my brain's kind of going, is that it? And I'm not doing that because I think Stack Overflow is worth $1.8 billion. I'm just thinking back to some of the other acquisitions that have happened in the past, like Skype for $9.5 billion, or the recent valuation of Unity at $25 billion. When you go through all of these different things, and Unreal Engine, very similar valuation. Is Stack Overflow worth 10% of what Unity is worth? That's kind of a weird thing to come up with. Now, and what I'm saying at the end is none of these are worth the valuation they're getting. But that $1.8 billion, on the one hand, I think, wow, that is outrageous. But on the other hand, it's comparative or a deal. It's very strange there. Now, the good thing here is Prosus does seem to be like a buy and hold and not change too much. So now let's go take a look at some of the companies Prosus owns, and this kind of shocks me that I've never actually heard of them. And there's a lot of these I haven't heard of for sure. 100% have not heard of some of these. But we're looking here and seeing Auto Trader, Code Academy. Let's keep going. What do we got? Let Go. We've got, I think a lot of these are regional, so that's why we've probably never heard of them. Skillsoft is in there. Tencent. Yeah, they own a chunk of Tencent. Tencent, the one company that owns like a good chunk of all of the gaming companies in the universe. Yeah, they're partially owned by these guys. Udemy. So if you could think of like a major educational site out there, well, we got Skillsoft, we got Udemy, we got Code Academy, some of the biggest names out there, and now we have Stack Overflow added to that list. But the thing I can safely sit here and say, well, Auto Trader wasn't ruined, Code Academy wasn't ruined, Skillsoft I don't think was ruined, Udemy don't seem to have changed that much, so they seem to be more of a long-term investor. They don't really screw with the companies they bought. Oh, they own Mail.ru. That name might actually sound familiar. They're like the Hotmail of Russia. But interestingly enough, Mail.ru actually started making games, like in a big way, and then they stopped. Actually, it didn't turn out that well. But anyways, that is Prosus, who owns all of these companies, and now they own Stack Overflow for $1.8 billion. So Stack Overflow, obviously, this is it. Anything you want to come in here and look for. So let's say we're looking for an answer on C++, and then I'm going to pick a number at random. 2004. I know that's an error of some kind. And you're looking up what that thing was, and you tell them, yeah, I'm not a robot. Here we go. So if you're trying to figure out why you got that particular error, you're going to have 33 pages of results. And the kicker is, I used to actually be quite active on Stack Overflow in that I used to actually participate in answering questions as well as actually asking them. And I find myself doing neither these days. And that's kind of an interesting thing. And there's a couple of reasons for that. First off, almost everything I ask a question for has an answer already. So I find myself asking these questions less and less because Stack Overflow has been around for so long. It has become such a giant repository of knowledge that almost any question that is asked is often now closed as a duplicate. And any question you have to ask probably already has an answer. But again, if you are a programmer and you have searched for any kind of an answer, there is a pretty good chance that Stack Overflow was that thing. Now, I couldn't imagine, if Stack Overflow was around when I was in school, my homework would have been so much easier. And Stack Overflow went way beyond just doing coding stuff. They started off basically as coding. That's where the expression Stack Overflow, that refers to an error you generated on the stack. You've overflowed the stack. It was a common way of crashing C code. So it's got a very nerdy origins, but now they've got spin-off sites for just about every topic you can think of. So they've moved into technology, life and arts, culture, science, and so on. But they are also the go-to place for coding questions. So there's also, I think it's called Server Overflow. I might be getting the name wrong, but if you've searched for any kind of administrative or database-oriented question, it's another overflow site that for sure you were brought to. So these guys are kind of the online repository of technical knowledge. And again, I promise you, if you've searched for a technical question, you got a Stack Overflow answer in your Google results. They are a huge part of the world of programmers, of network administrators, of database administrators, and so on. And now they are owned by Prosus. And again, it comes back to the same question. Given how massively important Stack Overflow is to so many lives, do you think that 1.8 billion number is insane? Is it too low? Is it too high? Or do we live in a world where money is just stupid now and we're just going to have more and more billionaires until the world explodes? I'm kind of leaning towards that last one myself, but like I said, my brain is really struggling with this one because on the one hand, it sounds like too little, and on the other hand, there's no world in way that 1.8 billion is too little of anything. So I'd love to hear what your opinion is on that. Also, do you think that we are going to see some changes because of this? I think we can kind of rest assured, if they were bought by like an investment company that was looking to turn and flip it, I would be much more worried. But these guys do seem to be pretty long-term holders, and their portfolio makes sense, and Stack Overflow fits into the parts of this portfolio that I at least understand. So Definitely an interesting move. I'd be really curious to think what you think of this acquisition, and again, what you think of that number. So that's it. Stack Overflow acquired for $1.8 billion. Let me know what you think. Comments down below, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.